Hey there, oh there, I realize it's been quite a while since I've actually uploaded something to here, but I feel that this video has been quite a long time coming. See, if you know me in real life, you know that I'm a huge fan of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series. I know this doesn't say Wheel of Time, but this is the first book in the series. I've had this copy since I started reading the series back in 2004. It's been that long, wow. To those who are not familiar with the series, very condensedly put, the Wheel of Time series is about basically the Dark One is trying to get free of his prison, and there is a prophesized chosen one who is destined to defeat him and or destroy the world as a result of the battle with the Dark One. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's sort of the condensed version. Robert Jordan, the author, managed to finish 11 books and a prequel to the series before he unfortunately passed away. And the final 3 books of the series were written by Brandon Sanderson using Robert Jordan's notes, as well as advice from Harriet McDougal, who is Robert Jordan's widow. Actually, I'm not even sure if advice is the right word, but she was there and she was the editor for all the books, so there is that. And the specific reason I wanted to bring up this series in particular today is because if you know anything about the series, aside from what I just said, it's that for ages, people have been trying to get some sort of adaptation about this series off the ground, whether it's movies or books. So I really didn't think movies were going to happen because there are 14 books in the series, and it'd be very hard to do that. But a TV series was more than possible, especially after Game of Thrones. And a couple of years ago, Amazon, actually I don't even know if it was a couple of years ago, but in the recent-ish past, Amazon picked up the series, at least the first book or two, for a season. And this has just been blowing my mind because for ages, no one thought this would get off the ground, or at least I didn't personally. Partially because there was a bunch of legal ramifications and legal troubles that this series ran into. A couple of years ago, there was this really bizarre TV movie, for lack of a better term, that basically adapted the prologue of the Eye of the World here, and I've seen it. It is something to behold, and not in a good way either. It has Billy Zane in it, and it was showed at 1:30 in the morning on FXX with no promotion. It was basically just so that the rights holders at the time could keep the rights to the adaptation. And I honestly thought that after that there was no way in hell that there would be an adaptation. And the fact that not only has Amazon picked this up, but they've actually already started casting, and they're going to be starting to film in September of 2019. That's amazing. Like, I never thought we would get any sort of adaptation, because if you read this series, there's a lot to it. And more so than... it's similar to Game of Thrones in that there's a lot of material here, but even more so than Game of Thrones because there's 14 books. There's a lot more books here, and there's a ton of viewpoint characters, and it's just incredible that we've gotten this far. And I also gotta say that I'm pretty happy with actually no, I'm very happy with all of the casting choices they've made so far with all the characters in the series. They've cast pretty much unknowns really at this point for everyone, except for one of the main characters is being played by Rosamund Pike. I think she was in a couple of Bond movies back in the 90s. I haven't really seen much of her work, so I can't really give you a good assessment of her or any of really these people's works. But more to the point on hand, I am absolutely just thrilled that we're even getting as much as we are, because like I said, this is a dense series, 14 books worth, and a prequel, so 15 if you count that. I never thought that I would see the day where someone would step up to at least attempt to make the series. I think that the success of Game of Thrones has really sort of helped the series along in terms of getting picked up properly. Properly being the key word there. The FX special, I don't recommend you watch it. called The Winter Dragon, I think. Like I said, it's legit terrible, and it's only the prologue of this book, so I don't think it would make much sense to you if you were to watch it, because it doesn't go anywhere after that. I've also been hearing a lot online about how the casting choices that they made don't exactly match up to what people have had in their heads. Well, yeah, it's an adaptation. I don't expect things to be 100% page to book, page to screen. Like I said, it is an adaptation, and I think part of the reason that there's been at least some outcry, at least from fans, I can't speak for the general population, but I think part of the reason that there's been some outcry from fans is just because for a lot of us, we've had these mental images of these characters for ages. Like I said, I've been a fan of the series since around 2004, so well over half my life at this point. Some have been fans longer. I think, when did The World come out? I want to say like 1990? Yes, according to my copy in the copyright page, copyright 1990. So you can imagine that a bunch of people probably have their own images. But you know what? Like I said, it's an adaptation. It's fine. Like I would rather have someone cast more for their ability than for their appearance. The example I can always think of is that Simon and River Tam in Firefly were actually originally Chinese, but they were played by white actors, and in all honesty, from what I've heard, and I tend to agree, I can't imagine anyone else in those roles. So people who are complaining that the characters in this series aren't 100% in their mind, or 100% white, black, blonde hair, whatever, I think that's all poppycock, basically. There's, as long as the ability's there, I think we are really in for something special, especially since Game of Thrones really kicked everything off. I'm just rambling at this point. Basically, I am thrilled that this is even getting anywhere at all, because for ages I never thought we would get anything. If we get more than one season, that's great. If we don't, and we only get the one, we always got the books. And I actually do highly recommend the books. They are very good. Even the ones by Brandon Sanderson co-wrote, basically. That is all I got for this time. I'm sorry for the rambling thing. I just really wanted to get this all off my chest. Thank you. Have a good day.